All right, guys, we're going to talk you through the deep squat, the benefit of the deep squat, and how to open up the hips for the deep squat, okay? So with your deep squat, you want to turn your feet out to a slight angle, okay? You want to come down, you want to hinge the hips. So if you can turn side on for me, Brendan. Okay, he wants to hinge the hips back foot, he wants to push the knees out and coming down. Now, see Brendan, he can actually get his hips below his knees, and he's keeping his chest quite proud. That's really good. Now, if you really want to open up the deep squat as well from this position, he's going to bring his hands together like he's sort of in a little Buddha position. He's going to bring his knees out. I'll get you to turn around for me now, please, Brendan. Okay, he's going to come down into the deep squat position, and he's going to push his knees out with his elbows. Now, if you want to make it a little bit more intense, you can come to knuckles together and push it right out, keeping his head up and keeping his posture. All right, so that's the basic deep squat, and I'm going to show you a few exercises to help open up the hips. So the next one he's going to go into is a frog stretch. So come down for me, Brendan. Now, the frog stretch is a yoga pose. Fantastic for opening up the adductors and the inner groin. He's coming down onto his forearm. The idea with a deep frog, with a frog, is he wants to push back into it. Okay, so can you turn side on for me again, please, Brendan? So looking at from the movie here, he's down onto his forearms. Now what Brendan wants to do to increase the stretch is go from right to left. So push your hips back, mate. Bring your elbows, you want to keep the elbows underneath the shoulders and pushing back as far as you can, within reason. This is a really deep stretch, okay? So you want to take it easy. If you do have a lack of hip mobility and flexibility, I wouldn't recommend holding this for a long time. But generally they say to improve flexibility, it's good to hold a stretch for up to 3 minutes to really open up the fascia. Okay, so that's your frog stretch. Next we're going to go into is a deep lunge. Okay, so Brendan's going to go into the push-up position for me, please. Okay, so we're going to do it from a side on a front. He's going to bring his right foot up and it's going to come up next to his right hand. Now see how he keeps the left-hand side of his body straight? That's really important. If you'll find you're dipping through the hips or you're getting a twist, that generally means you're tighter in one hip flexor or the other. Okay, so he's got it nice and straight. That's nearly a 10 out of 10 deep lunge. He's going to bring his foot back and he's going to do his left leg up. Okay, really sinking into that hip. I don't know if you guys can tell, but just from the video, Brendan's hip, his right hip is sinking a bit lower. That means his right hip flexor is tight. It's pulling him into the ground. So Brendan, just adjust. So bring your right hip up a little bit and keep that back hips level. Good. All right, now he's coming back into the push-up position. All right, the next one here, he's going to go back into his deep squat again. So stand up, please, Brendan. Now, we've opened up the hip flexors, we've opened up the adductors, which are two of the main muscles. You do have to use the posterior, wait up for a sec, Brendan. You do need to use the posterior chain as well. Now, we have a little bit of a different, and we look at his depths now. So Brendan, turn side on for me, please. Okay, he's going to hinge the hips back. He's going to roll down. He's going to bring his elbows between his knees. His hands are going to come together into like his knuckles. He's going to really push the knees out. And if you have a look, he's probably adjusted and gone a little bit deeper in his deep squat, possibly 5 to 10%. But anyway, guys, that's the deep squat. That's the exercises you need to do to open up your hips to do it. So standing up, Brendan. Well done.